Hello there everyone, it's Mark Bryans from Motorsport coming to you from what is rather gloomy Osaka. There's still a potential that we might have rain a few miles away to the east in Suzuka come this weekend. So I put upon myself a challenge today to find out just how much impact Yuki Tsunoda's move from Racing Bulls to Red Bulls, that promotion if you like, has had. So I'm going to go on the snoop and see what I can find out. Fair to say, spoiler alert, that this was recorded after I'd been on my adventure. So join me on my voyage of very much non-discovery as we went to try and find Yuki Tsunoda. Right, we're going to try shops. We're going to try, I don't know what we're going to try, but join me as we walk the streets of Osaka, an amazing city. That could be a way of finding out just what kind of impact, I guess, his move to Red Bull has made in the week before the Japanese Grand Prix. So yeah, let's go and find Yuki. Quite sure what this big building is. It looks like a guitar, but that's pretty cool. Let's see what we can find in Osaka. Well, I think Yuki might have to go to compete with the Tigers, celebrating their 90th anniversary season. The baseball team is so popular here. Wasn't quite the F1 theme, but I didn't have the heart to ask him to play it for us. Right, let's continue on through the shopping district. I'm currently having a look around Capsule Toy Planet, where, believe it or not, they sell capsule toys. The soccer stars have got their own capsule toys, but no sign of any Yuki Tsunoda. We managed to find some cars though, that's a good start, isn't it? Right guys, our search has been wholly unsuccessful so far, but I have seen something that might solve our problem. 7-Eleven. Let's go see if we can get some newspapers. Other Japanese convenience marts are available. Right then, here we go. 7-Eleven. I've already spied some newspapers just down here. Let's have a flick through and see if we can find anything that might be of help. Hello. Thank you. Arigato. So we're back at the coffee shop from the 7-Eleven, and I think it is safe to say that so far the, baseball is very much Ichiban. Baseball is number one, and baseball is king of the Japanese sports, particularly in these newspapers. I'm going to order an English breakfast tea with oat milk and have a flick through these and see if we can find any mention of Formula One or indeed the elusive Yuki Tsunoda. They've said nothing in those pages. Just flicking now through the second newspaper that I managed to pick up in the 7-Eleven, and it's wall-to-wall baseball. We've got 5-6 pages dedicated to the Hanshin Tigers, who last night were thrashed 7-1 by the Yokohama Bay Stars. In fact, they lost. The fact they were well beaten in this series does not appear to have had any sort of impact on the coverage. But lo and behold, viewers, we appear to have found what we were looking for. We finally have Yuki Tsunoda. There he is. I will use my process of translation, otherwise known as Google. Other services are available to find out just what the newspaper has to say about the man we've been looking for all morning. So as the images suggested, the story does centre on the Kabuki designed helmet that Yuki Tsunoda will race in on his Red Bull debut this weekend. There's also mention of when and where you can watch the action from Suzuka, plus some quotes attributed to Yuki himself. So I guess it's left to us really to, or me as the case may be, to discuss that Yuki Tsunoda move. It's massive this weekend really. It's our understanding that the move wasn't made at all because of the Japanese Grand Prix. There's nothing commercial around a decision despite having Yuki Tsunoda racing at his home race here at Red Bull. As you'll have seen, it's too late really to have any sort of commercial deals in place to promote that here. Tsunoda has appeared alongside the other 3 drivers within the Red Bull stable at events in Tokyo leading up to the weekend, so that'll be an interesting one. I'm sure he was well received alongside Max Verstappen, Isaac Hadjar, and of course the unlucky Liam Lawson. It'll be interesting to see, of course, how New Zealander Lawson gets on, having been demoted back to Racing Bulls. He will feel he's got a point to prove. That car is quick, we know that from the opening 2 rounds of the 2025 season, so he will want to beat Yuki Tsunoda, let's be honest, there's no 2 ways about it. He will be setting himself out to prove Red Bull wrong in their decision to drop him after just 2 Grand Prix. But there's plenty more at play this weekend than just Red Bull and Yuki Tsunoda. Let's go first to Ferrari. Of course, they were disqualified, both cars, Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, from the Chinese Grand Prix after Lewis Hamilton himself had won the sprint in Shanghai, so they'll be hoping for more of that than more of the former when it comes to the race this weekend. They really do need to improve Ferrari. They've not had the best start to the year. So yeah, it was one Lewis, Charles, they're both experienced enough, they both know what it takes to win, so they will want to do it well here, especially Lewis. He always loves to come to Japan, he's always enjoyed coming here. He's adored by the fans here as much as he is pretty much anywhere else around the world. One of his former teams, McLaren, of course, have set the early pace. Lando Norris winning in Australia, and then Oscar Piastri replacing him on the top step in Shanghai. It was a great weekend for Oscar Piastri and McLaren, but particularly for the Australian. After the disappointment of his home Grand Prix, he came back, finished 2nd in the sprint, set his first ever pole position for a Grand Prix, and then turned that into a race win. So yeah, will they be able to maintain it? There are complaints from Norris and within the team, of course, that car is very difficult to drive, but it is also very, very quick. So let's see if they can deal with that again this weekend. It's also worth touching on Haas. Of course, they have a working relationship with Toyota, so there'll be some fans, no doubt, that have been converted into Haas fans this weekend. They had a great turnaround in China. They were well off the pace, both in pre-season testing and at the Australian Grand Prix, but they turned things around with a double points finish in the Chinese Grand Prix, benefiting of course from those disqualifications of Hamilton, Leclerc and the Alpine of Pierre Gasly, but they'll take it. They were up there anyway. Ollie Behrman with his Zhou overtaking manoeuvre was impressive, as was Esteban Ocon. So will they be able to turn it around and keep that momentum going? It's also Alpine, we touched on there, Pierre Gasly disqualified, Jack Doohan picking up penalty points. Tough start to the year for the squad. They're going to have Ryo Hirakawa in the car for FP1, so another Japanese driver in front of the fans at Suzuka, so that'll be interesting to see how he performs. He's one of about 275 reserve drivers that Alpine have employed for this year. Of course, Franco Colapinto is the main talking point, and still one that he's talked about replacing Jack Doohan, so I'm sure Doohan himself would have rather had FP1 to still acclimatise the car, get used to that car, but he knows the pressure's on to deliver, and maybe it's not just Colapinto that will be eyeing his seat later in the year if he fails to do so. Worth touching on as well why we're here. We're here with Motorsport, and this weekend you can one-stop shop really with motorsport.com for what you need. So if you can't watch the race, or indeed if you do watch it but want a different take on things, then do tune into the live blog running each day. We also have our F1 Fantasy League, Race Our Writers on motorsport.com, which so far the writers are flailing, let's say, for want of a better phrase. We are struggling against the might of the F1 knowledge out there, but there will be a piece running later today discussing what some of our writers have done in terms of their teams. Maybe that Yuki Tsunoda, Liam Lawson switch will have impacted that. Do read that later to find out, and also join the league as well. The link and everything to do so will be on that story. Also, we have the track guide for Suzuka, which will be going out to social media in the coming hours, I hope. Obviously, we'll be here with the videos as well, so join us across the weekend here in Japan as we see how Yuki Tsunoda gets on, can he deliver that podium, and everything in between. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to go and search for more Yuki Tsunoda things and probably fail, but thank you, and we'll speak to you over the rest of the weekend. Quick addition, guys. Thank you viewers for sticking with me during that video where we couldn't find Yuki Tsunoda. So here we are at Namba Station waiting to go to Suzuka. Here's the Red Bull that was mentioned in the Autosport Business newsletter today. Thank you, Honda, for Max Verstappen there. Obviously, it's their last year with the Red Bulls. So they're saying thank you. There's a special livery. Max Verstappen's on all of the cans of Red Bull. But if, like me, you are a type 1 diabetic, or you just don't fancy sugar kick and you want sugar-free Red Bull, well, hello. One Yuki Tsunoda is the man on the can. There we go. The journey was worth it.